Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Emmy Award-winning travel editor for CBS News, Peter Greenberg.
Hey guys, wasn't that great?
Yeah.
They're getting changed. They're going to come out in a second. We'll talk back. We'll do some questions and answers from the audience. First of all, the engineering of that was amazing. Who here has been to Scotland? Anybody?
Yes.
Who here saw the original movie? 39 Steps. It was word for word, wasn't it? Amazing. And in the movie, they had the Flying Scotsman, was the name of the train. The actual train today doesn't exist. Today it's now the Royal Scotsman. And in the movie, of course, they didn't have all the tributes to Alfred Hitchcock, did they? How many actual references did anybody count?
7?
Well, we're going to ask the cast, but I got about 7. And of course, the silhouette of Alfred Hitchcock in the Hill was great too. But what was interesting about this, you have 4 characters, 4 actors doing over 100 roles. So for those people who like less is more, here's your play. I mean, amazing, right? I'm going to ask them when they come out how many calories they burn. This is the biggest loser right here. I mean, seriously. I mean, I was told that one of the actors, by the way, this is the 200th performance of this play in this theater tonight. And it's been in a number of theaters in New York. What's interesting about this, to me anyway, is when I say the engineering, I'm not kidding. Think of all the things that happen, and also try to figure out at the end who shot Mr. Member and who shot the Doc. Interesting. Who's got some questions before they come out? Anybody? Come on, be bold. When you did the Alfred Hitchcock movies, and you saw the movie, right? Right? Black and white?
Yeah.
Right? It wasn't a comedy. This is definitely a comedy. Exactly. And what's interesting about it is the actual filming of the movie. For those of you who did see it, every time they changed the scene, they actually went to black. Remember that? It was just blackout after blackout after blackout. And they followed that pretty true to form here. But what was interesting about this is, and I would like to ask this question when they get out here, how much improvisation happens every night, simply because the timing has got to be so specific. And you saw something tonight, you saw a couple things that were either intentionally not well timed, or they had to actually react to it. Now I asked who's been to Scotland. Anybody?
We come from there.
Huh? You come from there?
Yeah.
So you related to the train station in Edinburgh?
Every odd week I go to Edinburgh.
Exactly. You guys back here?
We're sneaking on.
You're sneaking on. Please.
My apple juice has a strange head on it.
So, a question for you.
Please.
Right when I saw you backstage, the first thing you talked about was the engineering.
Right.
How long did it take you to actually make every one of your marks here? Because you can't miss.
The show has been running for many years in London, and then ran in New York for some time before I ended up being entrusted with it. So the mechanics of the show are very, very clearly set by the time we arrived to play these roles. And we had 3 weeks rehearsal, which is not that long. And I often say that the first week of performance after the rehearsals was like being in the last carriage of a roller coaster with your eyes closed and your fingers in your ears going, please let it be over. And by the 3rd or 4th week, we're sort of in the middle carriage going, I think I know what's coming up now. And of course now we're at the point where in the front carriage, the arms up going, yay! So, but it took us, I would say, several months before we truly made it our own. You can forget the mechanics. Your body has to ultimately forget the literal nature of what you're doing, so you can necessarily start to enjoy that as an actor and perform it rather than just obey it. So the mechanics are very clearly set, but we have to make it our own, and that takes a lot longer than 3 weeks rehearsal.
Now, I lost count. I know you know. Costume change. How many?
We don't know, actually. I mean, it's like, it's constant. We have a wonderful crew who make this possible and joyful. But we have, I honestly couldn't tell you, but it feels like 1,000, but it's just probably like, I suppose, 10 or 15 characters, and that.
So the guy really gets off easy in terms of costume changes.
Yeah.
Is you.
It's definitely me. Yeah. put on a fake mustache. That's great.
But you play one character, and then how many other characters are you talking about?
In the course of the thing,
Yes.
oh gosh, there must be. I mean, they
Tell
say
the number of characters that you play. I mean, John, you're just playing one.
I'm just the one, but
It must be 15 or 20, 15 characters. I mean, they often in the publicity material count when we come across as the Scottish marching band. That's 1, 2, 3 characters.
and if you count inanimate objects such as bogs and rocks and things as characters, then they play a little more. So.
And shadow puppets probably too.
Right. I do actually play a shadow puppet though, so I get 2 characters.
All right, who shot who at the end?
That is a member of our lovely crew, who we haven't, you can't see all this wildness backstage, but there's quite a bit that happens. You know, we have a great team of people back there, dressers. We have 2 dressers who deal with the quick changes for these guys mostly. And then we have 3 deck crew.
2 props, 1 set, 1 electric, 1 deck.
But he doesn't work here.
Right. And then an assistant
Lucky
stage
guess.
manager and a stage manager. Stage manager. There's more of them than there are of us.
Yeah.
And then one of the understudies each night handles the additional shadow puppet stuff. So there's all sorts of like crazy things happening back there and people running around, and that's all very intricately choreographed as well. So Peter was the arm and the gun tonight. So.
Not me. Now, John, before you came out here, I know you guys did a matinee day too.
We did, yeah.
So, this is such high energy, I have to ask this question. Have you ever figured out how much weight you've lost doing this?
Yeah, you know, I haven't. I haven't been on a scale, but it's mostly because I haven't been to the gym, and which is mostly because I haven't needed to go. Exactly. So I mean, I definitely have lost a little bit of weight. We all have, actually. I know, Jamie, you said the other day
I've lost 20 pounds.
Yeah.
So, which is a good thing.
But I mean, it is just a lot of like. That's one of the trickiest things for doing the show is the balance of rest and eating. And you know, I can't eat too much right before the show, or I'll probably puke when I'm running and playing. But it's, you know, you have to eat enough to keep yourself going because it's pretty much nonstop 2 hours for me at least.
Forgetting the beers right now, how much are you drinking during the show?
During the show,
Not drinking alcohol.
right?
Right.
5 beers, 3 martinis.
I mean, yeah, we probably go. I mean, you know, every chance I get off stage, I do the 3 things, which are always the same, which is get some water, wipe off my face with a towel, and then comb my hair. And so each of that, I go through a good bottle of water, I'm sure.
We each have a bottle of water either side, which is about this big, and we go through the whole thing in the course of the show. So 2 bottles of water.
Wow. Amazing. Who's got questions? Right there, sir.
If you lost 20 pounds so far, what's your shelf life?
I've lost 20 pounds and gained 15 years in 6 months. I mean, actually, it's a serious question in a way, because I'm not 25, I'm 26. And, but it does take its toll, you know, like this is 7 months I've been doing it now, and I must say, while it's good to lose weight, you know, I just, running around, jumping up and down and stuff, you have to think about those things as far as the longevity of your shelf life. I mean, I love doing it, I enjoy it so much, it's a joyful thing to do, but it is a different show when you're in your 40s. You know?
And I think all of us, too, started the show with choices and physical things and vocal things that we were doing that then had to change because you get a month in and 8 shows a week and you can't sustain that, so you have to find a more direct and easy way to do the things that you originally rehearsed.
We have a wonderful director, Mariah Aitken, who challenges us often in our notes, and she'll say, and she said it a couple of times at least, you know, try and find a way of doing exactly what you're getting in the same reaction with half the amount of energy and half the amount of, which is a real challenge sometimes as an actor, because you want to just give everything you've got, but then I think it's nice to be able to find ways of, you know, not giving everything, but giving, you know, just writing it more sensibly, I suppose.
Now, Jamie, you mentioned about making your mark, you know, all the marks you've got to hit. How much improvisation from that?
None, really. I mean, it looks, if we've succeeded in making you think that it's improvised at some level, we've been very successful because it's extraordinarily tightly choreographed, and Greg is playing this role only for the 2nd time, which is amazing.
Whoa!
Right. So, but we have to give the impression that it's all kind of being put together, cobbled together at the moment. But that's part of the act, I guess. So There are occasionally things have gone wrong where you have to improvise, like the sound cue doesn't quite work with the door, the wind doesn't there, like, oh, it's not so windy tonight. I see it's a witty thing. Not.
Questions? Yep. Go ahead.
The accents, amazing. How do you prepare for that?
The questions about the accents?
Yeah.
We have a fabulous dialect coach named Stephen Gabus, and he's one of the best in the biz. He's done, if you look at your playbills, he's done a lot of stuff, and the UK is sort of his specialty too. So he really helps us through everything. And also Mariah, our director, is British, so that helps too, to have that sound in the
Well, is
rehearsal.
that British, Scottish, German?
Well, she's sort of made up. We sort of joking.
She's a hybrid.
Yeah, she's a Russo-Germanic something or other. She's an enigma in more ways than one. So her accent is entirely made up, and Stephen had a good time, I think, sort of picking and choosing his favorite sections from different dialects to create her.
Did you have a fear of that going into it?
Yeah, I mean it's difficult, particularly having a director who's British. She's gonna know the moment you are the slightest hair off, you know.
Having said that, I mean, we had some people from Edinburgh came one night. The accents were terrible. It was wonderful.
Yeah.
The accents, I think Scots accents probably aren't as accurate as we'd like them to be in some ways, but that's part of the joke. Good question?
Yeah, how long does it take to walk out onto the show?
A while, usually. I mean, it's funny, you know, people always ask me afterward, aren't you so exhausted? And I mean, in a way, maybe I am, you know, we've done 2 of these today, but it's such a great high, especially when you have a fabulous audience like you guys were tonight. Like, you know,
please,
you feel great. And I mean that, really. We have some not great audiences sometimes, so you guys are great.
So these are not the losers?
No, you guys are the winners, definitely. And, but it does take a while. Like, there's a lot of adrenaline and energy pumping through you, so a couple hours, you know, from now I'll be curled up like a little baby asleep, but for now I'm wide awake.
When I did the show for the first time, because I'm understudy, so I'm usually not doing it, but Monday night, we had a test run for me, and I felt like I'd been hit by a truck. I was like, oh my God. But I'm sure at the end of the week I'll be in amazing shape, and the camera will be back to me.
Another question? Yes, Reverend.
How about for each of you, stylistically, in terms of the approach to acting, the style of acting? It's very 30s, 40s. Did you kind of, what was the template for each of you in terms of that?
Mariah was very specific about this not being a camp show, but a high, she would say high style. Mm-hmm. So I think there was a lot of attempt to sort of recreate that style of the film, but not to the point where it would be alienating to an American audience, like overly mannered. Right. So I think we found
Well, there was a phrase was it brushing the foothills of camp, I think is what she said, but not fully up the mountain.
Right. She made us watch the movie together in the first week of rehearsals. We had some idea about the source material, and I think there is that, I mean, the dialogue is all, most of it's from the movie, so it's astonishing how much the story follows the same story in the film. And it's an homage to that genre, but I think it's definitely theatrical in the way that the movie is. So.
Well, what was interesting to me was that you really followed the script of the movie, almost word for word, and yet you made it funny.
Right. Yeah, and it is like, that was the, I mean, I think the tricky thing with the style of the show is not, I mean, we're, you know, especially for me and Pamela, when Kate is Pamela the Blonde, like, these great kind of archetypes of, you know, old movies and things, and that's an easier style to mimic, but it's, the tough thing is keeping within the style of the show when you break a little bit, when you say things like, you know, stop doing that, or, you know, put that down, or fix that, or, you know, things like that, and not getting too contemporary or too commenting on, yeah, too much on that. We had this, you know, Mariah has this kind of great backstory that goes with the show that she kind of gave us of like being a troupe of like a failing theater troupe that you know, I'm kind of the manager of the troupe, and we have to put on this show, and the only 2 people around are these 2 old vaudeville clowns that then have to fill in for all the things. And like, it's a nice way to ground the story in a real need to tell this exciting, serious story, but in a way that makes it silly because of the way in which we do it. So that
it was excellent. I thoroughly enjoyed all of your performances.
Excellent. Can we please thank Jamie, Greg, John, and